bigs, it's the bigs. They calling us the bigs, it's the bigs, it's the bigs, but not because I signed.
This is it, day one. The red letter edition. Big loader. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on, yeah. Before I finish breathing, I'm moving the masses like minister speeches, penning classics as I finish my thesis. Not a pastor or a preacher, my passion is deeper. Rapper / teacher, trying to master the teachings past the sinister streets and moving bags past the police is speeding fast in the evening. The truth is, it's all about eating, but I'm feeding food for thought for those either fasting or feasting. Putting faith in my beliefs when I'm speaking, looking straight till I'm decent, at peace with no fear, believing it's real. I tell them it's heaven, but it's hard when you talking to niggas with no ears. From clouds of chronic coughing and sessions off, walking and stressing, straight lost in the essence. I pause for a second with my thoughts and reflections. I take my losses as lessons, but it's all just a blessing, and that's the mess. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. In an instant, friendship seeing quick in the music business. It used to be just music, now it's just business. The relentless pursuit for loot, dividends and interest, hidden agendas, leaving you defenseless against them. Not to mention intentions to benefit from you penning authentic sentences. Shit for the spinach, niggas that did it. Listen, while you scribbling, picturing images of living on premises, surrounded by fences and different women in silky linens, bending and grinning, intended rentals, you slipping, cause these Vicks is out, tricking your chips in. The game's cutthroat, rules was laid back in the day before rappers got paid by sponsors that slung dope. And shit ain't really changed beside the amount of change the game. Famous names so these lames can front, so I change the game. See my future through the blunt smoke so high, looking at my future through the blunt smoke. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me. I'm invincible, guarded by two identical, invisible guardian angels that guard every angle of my physical frame. Spiritual miniature ministers whispering, keeping me on the top of my game. Lessons to gain, pleasure and pain. Like my eyes, they reside on the left and right side of my brain. Quietly praying, navigating my aspirations, passing calculated statements while I'm grabbing my flame. Wasted in the basement, pacing, placing words on pages, blazing my merch to the face. I'm blowing life in the air. I sold my soul to the Lord for a price of a prayer. Yeah, so my nights can be clear when I sit still, writing his will in his likeness, like him, cause I'm knowing he'll save me. He told me to spit and don't let the devil take the gifts that he gave me. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me, yeah. We can chop it up, get our profits up, get this dust. If you just rotate with me, yeah. It's not a song, I'm trying to put you on to what I'm on. If you just rotate with me.
Welcome to Inhale, Exhale, you guys. We're your health home girls, Dr. Tanks Lee and Danny Time. We are being joined today by a guest, Samantha Allen, who's going to work with us today about attachment styles.
Preoccupied, anxious, that's more so a child that comes from a background where the parent or the caregiver was kind of all over the place. You didn't know what you were going to get, so you were clinging to them when you did have their attention, because sometimes I might have it, other times I might not. Because that, it creates an anxious anxiousness in the child. Whereas when I get your attention, I want to hold on to it. I want to make sure. So I might cry when you leave, or I always want you around. I'm craving your attention. You know, mother-father relationship. The father passed away. Now the mother is over busy. She's working all the time. She doesn't have as much attention as she once had for the children. So now this created an anxious attachment style. Those adults grow up more, considered more clingy in relationships, always wanting attention or feeling like I need to make sure we're okay. Fear abandonment, fear that we might be breaking up or you might be leaving me alone. So I might check in with you more often. I might call you more. I just need to be assured that everything is okay with our relationship. That anxiousness part is the anxiety of the relationship, of always thinking something might be going wrong. If I called you, you don't answer. Are you upset with me? What did I do? Let's figure this out. Let's work this out. You're always kind of on edge about where your relationship will go.
You get a piece of paper, write down the event, the thought, emotion, and then logic. So in this case, say that your boyfriend didn't text you back. Okay, that's the event. What is your thought? Oh, well, he doesn't care. What's your emotion? I feel unworthy. What's the logic? Well, maybe he's asleep. So you gotta do that. That's addressing some of the symptoms. But overall, you want to engage self-love and self-discovery, right? And just kind of reprogramming your subconscious.
We out west with it, where we live illegal, leaning off a leader, riding regal, tipping scales like Libras. Inhale, no L's, pulling out blocks like Jenga. In the rear of a Caprice's Billy Rims, flicking decent nonetheless. Nothing less than 10s for the speakers. You'll hear us before you see us with beats that beat the streets up. Yeah. So try and keep up and keep it low key, cuz police try and treat us and keep us on a leash, cuz that's how they see us, thinking we nuts. Cuz we'll die for the ground beneath us, because this land made us. This land made of players that stay on paper. That's how we came up amongst the mayhem to the day when we display what we made of. The game can never change us, the West Side teachers. On these streets where you find that D before G. We out west with it, back down, trying to flip a dollar. If you looking, then we got it, you just gotta been apply. We out west with it, riding clean, wetter than the sea. On the scene with a full tank, blowing AC. We out west with it, I'm posted, let me know what y'all on. Cause if y'all get on something, then just hit my phone. We out west with it, yes sir. Hustle for every penny in the trenches, but we turn struggle into strength. Smell the grind in the air, take a whiff. Only the nose knows the aroma. Compose the money rolls that fold up, holding cold cups. Searching for those that got the purple O's for the $4. And we can go nuts and stay at the stove like grocers, and post up with O's on the table like coasters. That's how the game coached us, made us all in the soldiers. Now that dough is the focus, so know that we own this. Molded by the hood role models, riding good, the latest model, drinking good, raising bottles like we just missed the pothole. You got to know that it's impossible to stop our flow. We've seen it all from watching cops reload 30s a dro while drinking the night away until the block got slow. You'll know as soon as you see us, we the ones laid back in the cut. My demeanor seems to always get me up. We out west with it, back down, trying to flip a dollar. If you looking, then we got it, you just gotta been apply. We out west with it, riding clean, wetter than the sea. On the scene with a full tank, blowing AC. We out west with it, I'm posted, let me know what y'all on. Cause if y'all get on something, then just hit my phone. We out west with it, yes sir. Hustle for every penny in the trenches, but we turn struggle into strength. Yeah, home of the survivor, survival of the fittest in the town. It's wicked, you can J down in a minute. What am? What's the business? The biz is how you down and get it. From Cape Town to Fifth City, the sounds of Fifth's empty. When we tipsy, it's risky. Where the lick be, at least 10 deep, it tempts me. But there's no mystery where the chips be, the tips G. Just our history from the 60s. Pimpin' ain't easy, but we bleed it. This here game is in our veins, in the air we breathe in. Believe this, it's no game, but the key is your mouthpiece, spit your game. But believe, turn nothing into something. We suffer without supper long enough. Struggling from summer to summer, the same place where the dope is sold. It's home to the Oprah show, the same place I know is home. We out west with it, back down, trying to flip a dollar. If you looking, then we got it, you just gotta been apply. We out west with it, riding clean, wetter than the sea. On the scene with a full tank, blowing AC. We out west with it, I'm posted, let me know what y'all on. Cause if y'all get on something, then just hit my phone. We out west with it, yes sir. Hustle hustle for every penny in the trenches, but we turn struggle into...
Shop at Black-owned and operated Solo Beauty, where you are appreciated and respected. Located at 8158 South Cottage Grove, Solo Beauty can supply all of your black hair care needs. Solo Beauty is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday.
You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning.
Our Attorney General, Kwame Raoul.
I have reached out to the Hospital Association and the Med Society to talk about how proactively we can talk about implicit bias in healthcare and begin to address the situation system-wide, because I've also simultaneously directed my civil rights team to begin to look at that and look at ways that it may have manifested itself. We've done so historically with regards to the nursing home industry, where you've had some nursing home owners that staff disparately. So if they're in a black community, they won't have much staff as they will in a white community. We've taken that on from a civil rights standpoint, and we're prepared to take on other instances of implicit bias in healthcare.
Utilizing your office to investigate civil rights and healthcare as a civil rights issue. That's actually pretty powerful, and it demonstrates how we have to be working in coordinated efforts with our elected officials in places and positions of power.
All right, well, Angela Oya Fumike. As you know, this is I Do, I Did, I Don't on the What's in It for the Black People media. Start our way into this journey of divorce and healing. So we came together under a survival mentality, not under a friendship of being in love. First being friends, and then being in love or growing in love. We came together under, we're trying to survive, we're two kids trying to survive. Okay, we're going to survive together, because if you're handling this end of the survival and I'm handling this end, years that you've accepted this is what it's been, and now you've made this decision. And he wasn't there. He wasn't even seeing that you were done. Here's what it was. Just like I ignored on the front end that he didn't love me like that, he was so disconnected from me by the point when I decided to leave that he didn't see the writing on the wall. Wow. Just didn't see it. But he didn't know that woman because he never took the time to meet her. Mm-hmm. And so you created your plan. And that's key, I think, in having a plan. If you are going to, whether you're deciding together that this isn't going to work any longer and we're splitting, and having a plan on how you're going to move forward is pretty key. You knew at this point I had to create your own plan, and you were moving forward with that. In my case, I didn't have a plan. Things happened pretty abruptly, and I was creating the plan on the fly along the way. I don't recommend that. You forgive yourself. You forgive you. Do the work of forgiving yourself that you may be able to actually forgive others.
We are right back at it. No, it's not Groundhog Day. You're not reliving the past. The bigs are right back in the building like we never left. As usual, I'm T-Time, riding with my player partner, Eugene McIntosh.
Man, we know what's the drawings, brother, so we don't even have to get into that, man. Happy to be back, though. Esco, we did the work behind the scenes. We found out the issue, we think. And going forward, we just going to watch our back, keep our third eye open, and continue to keep it moving.
Definitely. I'm definitely keeping my ears peeled for whatever the bug is around here, but yeah.
Share that thing, though, man. Get the people back in here. Shout out to everybody who continue to stay with us through the technical difficulties. But we are back, man. We got another hour left. And we got some things to talk about today, man. Spring training is back. The Houston Rockets are stinking up the NBA. Joakim Noah is officially retiring as a Bull. It's a lot going on, bro. Where you want to start, man?
Let's start with that last piece of update that you said, man. Joakim Noah, former Chicago Bull, announced that he is pretty much effectively retiring from the game of basketball, and he's going to do it as a Chicago Bull. When it's official, it will be as a Bull. They use the word eventually, so that gives me the impression that they may wait to the end, towards the end of the season.
Bring him back in the uniform. Let him suit up for a game.
If they do that,
come off the oak foot for the last minute and 30 seconds.
If they do that, Gino, I'm making sure we're both at that game because I'm gonna be cheering. It's hard not to cheer for a guy like Joakim Noah, but when I look back,
agreed.
You know what I mean, at the last time I feel like I was a super fan, I would have ran through a wall for number 13, man.
What year was that Joe was like seriously in the MVP?
That was the year after D-Rose. That was the year he sat out with the ACL injury the first time.
So that was like
12
and 13?
Yeah, like 2013, 2012, because he won Defensive Player of the Year that year, right?
He's been playing for 13 seasons.
13 seasons.
Yes.
God.
So it had to be this year. It had to be 2013-14 season where he averaged 13 points, 11 rebounds.
And how many assists? Like 5 assists?
5 assists.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was doing everything for the Bulls.
He wasn't he like fourth in MVP voting?
Yeah, he definitely was fourth in MVP voting. But I feel like that was his prime season.
It was.
Joakim at his best. He stayed healthy.
He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 seasons where he averaged a double-double. He averaged 11 and 11, 12 and 10, 10 and 10, 12 and 11, 13 and 11.
That's I really feel like is considering how the pundits felt about Joakim coming out of Florida. That's very, very solid. But then I feel like you got to factor in the fact that he was that guy that was going to do the stuff you didn't see in the
glue.
stats. Yeah.
The glue.
He was going to die for loose ball. He was going to get those 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
He was going to give you the energy that you needed in a clutch time. He was going to make a clutch block. That was just Joakim Noah for you.
I couldn't agree more, bro. I feel like Joe was he was the glue to that team. He was the guy who established the identity that Tibbs wanted. Mm-hmm. And even though him and Tibbs clashed a lot, it was perfect. It was the perfect storm.
Spirit, yeah,
it was the perfect storm where they both gained each other's respect for the amount of heart and determination that they both had, and that they knew they could pull the best out of each other that would bode well for the team that they have formed over the years. They weren't the most talented team, but they worked extremely hard. We got to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and how they were into it in practice.
Oh, yeah.
And how they would hold each other accountable. Rose, Joe, Lou.
That was key.
Yeah, they would all hold each other accountable. So you got to give Joe his respect, and it's only right that he comes back home and retires as a Bull, man.
Man, he has such a great relationship with the fans.
Definitely.
I mean, remember the back and forth with LeBron, the clapping.
It was great
in the playoff.
Who
game.
wants to play in Cleveland?
Who goes to Cleveland? I still would like to know. What do you do in Cleveland for fun?
Joe is one of them guys, man.
The Boston series, the steal.
He banned. Who did he ban? He banned Paul Pierce on the break.
The fast break from half court to the cup, flushed it down. I still can see all my guys going crazy. I was in my college apartment, and I stayed across the hall from some cats from New York. And if they didn't know we was from Chicago before, they knew after game 1 of that Boston series what it was on the other side of the hallway. So
no doubt, definitely
made us feel good and proud to rep the Chicago Bulls no matter where we were. And then when D Rose came and Joakim kind of got his partner in crime, things turned up,
Shout out to Joe, man. He was a great guy to talk to. Always wore his heart on his sleeve.
That I feel like once we got on the Bulls beat and got a chance to be around Joakim, he's one of those athletes that I would say was a pleasant surprise. He wasn't a crank.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Joakim, when he was active on Instagram, I think he was out because of a shoulder injury or something, and he went back to New York and ended up like posting this Instagram story of him and Sheik Luke.
I think I do remember that.
And he was thrown like visibly. And so he was at the crib the next day, and I had to tell him, I was like, I seen you on Instagram turning up at him when you're supposed to be hurt. He kneeled down close to me. He's like, Joe, you saw that? I was like, hell yeah, I saw it. I was like, I can't be the only one that saw it. He's like, I deleted that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't delete it fast enough, Joe, but that definitely let us know that you was on the soil, man.
Oh, yeah, he was real out here. Nobody was complaining.
And he was a community guy, man. He did a lot. He stayed over there at St. Sabina doing things for Father Flegg and the community over there.
Rocket dropped the whole campaign.
Yeah.
He definitely stayed real.
I forgot my boy who he basically formed his non-for-profit organization with. I can't think his name right now, but he was always in the family room when we would come out.
To the Sky Games?
No, at the Bulls game.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah. Guy would always show love with me with Joe's mom.
Yep. I can't think his name right now. But, yeah, I feel like, man.
I can't believe them times is over there and that we're looking back on those years, man. I feel like that is the last time I was I was thirsty for the Bulls to win a championship, you know? And all of my hopes and dreams got placed into that era of Chicago Bulls basketball. I've told you guys the story before. It was we had a thing on the set. It was called Bulls, Bud, and Bros. You know what I mean? And what that basically was, we knew.
Y'all was the first Triple B?
Oh, come on. First Triple B. Come on. I need the shirt with the Bud, Bulls, and Bros. Because we knew at 7 o'clock when it was a Bulls game.
Everything else.
You was going to be with one of the Bros. You was going to have some Bud, and you was going to be going crazy for the Bulls. So.
Oh, I thought friend, buddy.
Oh, no, Buzz. Still buddy for sure.
Buds.
Yes, but with Mary Jane. So, man, I miss those times, man. And honestly, it's you know what? It's hard to watch Rose without, thinking back to those days. The video of him killing yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it just made me feel like, he's back locked in. Like, he knows it's a playoff spot to be had. He's trying to get into a series, So
yeah, and he's got this is exactly what the Knicks needed. They needed that spark. They needed a veteran guy who knew Tibbs' system, but could also, because I think a guy like Julius Randle, who's having an all-star season, no doubt, but I think he needs a guy like Derrick Rose to kind of not necessarily take the pressure off of him, but just relieve some of the pressure. That D Rose is still that guy. He shows glimpses of his agility and his speed and his quickness.
That athleticism,
but I think it's still there. But I think he plays with a higher IQ now. He doesn't try to do too much. He knows how to make. I don't think he really knew. I think it was just his nature and his innate ability back when he was a youngin' for the Bulls to play the game, because that's how he played at Simeon. That's how he played at Memphis. Mm-hmm. That was just his natural ability of making the guys around him and making the team better. Now I think he knows how now, along with that ability and what he has inside of him. I think he's grown enough to know now how to make those guys better and get the best out and know what your teammate does best and how to put him in the best position to succeed. So I feel like a guy like R.J. Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a huge blessing for R.J. Barrett to be watching Rose.
Mitchell Robinson, even though I think he may be out with a fractured finger or something. Yeah, but all of those guys who are basically on an upward trend. I think Derrick Rose is exactly what they needed. He's not going to come in and play 40 minutes a game, but he's going to be out there in the clutch situations. Tibbs knows he can trust him. The guys know they can trust him. But even more than that, they love him as a person.
Facts.
And I think that's what's going to take them the longest way.
Honestly, that is when the guys had to leave the Bulls, when D Rose and then Joakim ended up on the Knicks, I feel like that's what you knew. You know what I mean? That Rose is probably one of the best teammates that most of these guys ever had. And I feel like when you look at the Knicks, it's that same culture. You know what I mean? That we loved when it was here in Chicago.
Right.
They're creating it again with the Knicks. I love the fact that it's an opportunity for Rose to get some redemption. We know how It went down in New York the first time he was there. Where
Yep.
It was a very peculiar and different time in his life. And for him to come back in this new space and be in a position to be a leader for the young guys, but also to win some games, you're going to get the very best out of Derrick Rose in that kind of situation. And I feel like he's just, like, getting his feet wet again.
Right.
And you see that it's already impacting the team in positive ways. And like I told you again, bro, even though I'm looking for, and I was thinking about it today, if the Knicks get into the playoffs and Rose is the starting point guard, bro, I might as well be the Bulls. Like, I'm going to be tuned in every single game because I want him to succeed.
No, that's real.
But the opportunity, is great. And I feel like a lot of teams missed out on what could have been the missing piece to some of their puzzles in Derrick Rose. So he's definitely on a different stage. In New York, you know the eyes are gonna be there.
But the comfortability too, though, man. It's like
it's a New York though.
New York City, Madison Square Garden, Tom Thibodeau.
Exactly.
It was the perfect marriage.
Boom.
A remarriage or whatever you.
Exactly. A
third marriage, yeah.
Tim's is like, I want you back. Do you want me back? Bro?
Yeah, it's like
let's do it.
The fourth marriage.
It's like, I guess you're the only guy that loves me anyway. So.
Exactly. But just a big shout out to Tibbs, man, for going in there and installing.
The realest.
Yeah, man. This is the identity,
man.
And if you don't want to be a part of this, then we got a seat at the end of the bench for you.
We know where you're going to be.
Yeah, and they've what are they on a 4-game winning streak?
4-game winning streak.
And no disrespect to Elfrid Payton, but as soon as he got out the lineup and they inserted D Rose, how fast things change.
And honestly, I feel like that was the debate when he got traded, and I pulled one of my clients. I'm like, y'all can't be serious. Derrick Rose is taking Elfrid Payton's spot. Like,
stop it.
It's not a debate. He's brought there to be the starting point guard, y'all.
And show Emmanuel quickly
how to do it.
How to do it.
I'm gonna show you how to do this, son. Come on.
Man. Yeah, man. So
yeah, man. I definitely loving the resurgence of this level of Rose, and I feel like we were just waiting on it. I don't think we ever thought that it was gone
at all
or anything like that. I feel like it was the dweebs and the nerds that was trying to push our boy out the door, and all these advanced stats and all the talk about Rose being one of the worst players in the NBA.
I'm so sick of the advanced
They're
stats.
eating their words now.
Sabermetrics, the analytics. I'm extremely fed up with that. As we saw, because I know you wanted to talk about the Denver Nuggets in that play.
Yes, but in the scope of this conversation, for sure. Yeah, because that was an instance where the players saw a statistic instead of actual basketball play unraveling.
So Jamal Murray says, and I wish we could play the video, but we don't want to get flagged again. We don't want to have our video taken down. Yeah. But yeah, Jamal Murray, so there's a 4-on-1 fast break. Jamal Murray says he thought Michael Porter Jr. was going to cut to the basket. Michael Porter Jr. in turn says he thought Jamal Murray was going to pull up for 3. So what about the other 2 guys that were running the break?
At the 3-point line as well. And I'm open. Now, I was kind of disappointed in Jamal Murray's response. And even Shaq, I was surprised at Shaq's response because he said it was the right play.
I saw Shaq, Kenny, and Charles arguing that night. Kenny was just like, I'm as the point guard of this group up here.
Yes.
I'm telling y'all that was terrible all the way around. All 4 of those guys were terrible.
I don't care. The cat in the corner, the wing, top. That was ridiculous, but it was a microcosm of what the game is today. I don't think I've ever seen a more clear example than a 4-on-2 fast break. You're down by 2 in the fourth quarter with the clock running out, and everybody stops at the 3-point line.
Bruh, I was highly disgusted.
And because it's this idea that the 3-point shot has somehow become more valuable than it has been when it was first brought over here. And I feel like even defenses are designed to give up the mid-range shot and just defend the 3-point line.
Because they know that it's all about the drive and kick now. It was so refreshing yesterday to watch the Milwaukee Bucks and the LA Clippers game and the amount of mid-range shots that were taken in that game.
Because I feel, Gene, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what's been driving me crazy because it's definitely about the drive and kick. But if the defenses are so focused on that, isn't that leaving the mid-range wide open?
But when you don't work on it,
it's ridiculous because I watched DeMar DeRozan,
the king of the mid,
last night or a couple nights on Saturday. The man had 30 and like 11 with no three-pointers, with like 6 free throws.
Right.
He was working them dudes. It was a beautiful thing to see.
Right.
You know what I mean, and I feel not only is it a loss aspect of the game,
it's a lost art. It's not even a lost aspect. Art. It's more of a lost art than a lost aspect of the game because it's just like Charles Barkley says, fool, if you go 0 for 17 from 3, stop shooting them. The Houston Rockets, bro, shot 4 for 42.
That was the final stat?
And lost by 50.
I saw when it was 80-44 at one point. And I was like, okay, I'm not watching this.
Bro.
But isn't it detrimental to you as a player if you don't work on your mid-range games? You know, like I'm at the point where I'm like pissed. I'm like, gee, this is tough. Like these 3-point contests, the ignoring of the mid-range game is just too much right now.
Yeah, the philosophy, the NBA philosophy, man, is just weird to watch, man, because you just know that there's a 3 coming. Like, it's crazy when more than half, just a team takes 90 attempts and 52 of them are from 3. It's something I got to get used to.
Gino, you're not ever getting used to this style of basketball. I mean, and let me just say, I love the long ball. Like, when I'm on the court, I love shooting threes, so I understand, but I know when it comes to watching basketball, it's not entertaining to me.
Well, brother, me and BC talked about this yesterday, and somebody was arguing with him that the mid-range is gone. And again, when you get to see a game like the Bucks and the Clippers with guys like Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Middleton, even a guy like Giannis, who, you know, he's tried to extend his range out to 3. He's not a 3-point shooter.
Where is he most dangerous?
He's most dangerous 15 feet in.
He's unstoppable 15 feet in.
And that's another conversation to have because I feel like Mike Budenholzer, if the Milwaukee Bucks don't want to repeat their last 2 playoff performances,
yes, bro,
then he's got to switch up the offense because there's just no reason that Giannis should be standing at the top of the key trying to create, and you got 4 guys just standing there watching. He needs to be in the paint, in the post. He needs to. I don't know what he needs to do. I'm not Mike Budenholzer, but I know one thing: he doesn't need to be at the top of the key trying to create while he's got 4 guys standing around.
But Gino, it's totally about the analytics, and I feel like down the line we have to dig deeper into it and really kind of put these sports or these stat nerds on the Summer Jam screen and give them a piece of our mind. But that's down the line. Let's take a break real quick on the soil, y'all. We'll be right back with more of the show.
My brothers and sisters. My brothers and sisters. Yeah. No bullshit at the pulpit with questions for the reverend, like why I gotta die to go to heaven, or are these lies and deception a sign of what's next? To deny my progression to my soul through my spirit from my mind and my flesh. You be hard pressed to alter my perspective. It's reflective of my perception. All the lives and the tribes that's affected, dying quick, effects from environments neglected, disconnected, disrespected. This the same section we never invest in. Our own sales from our own shells, become owners on our own, then get on with our own help. Yeah, creators of our own world, communicate, we accumulated our own wealth. Created in this image, so when I say it, I meant it. Do the science for yourself. My brothers and sisters, we ain't niggas and bitches. My brothers and sisters, we ain't niggas and bitches. Can you dig that though? And I put this on my mama, Black Madonna, Mother Earth, Mother Africa. I'm honored to be a part of where it started. Selling Starburn through the stars, stardust on my starship. My heartbeat is godly. I'm the light harness from the darkest part of darkness. Such a godsend. I'll teach my son to treat your daughter like a goddess. I teach my daughter to treat your son like a god king. I can never deny my fate. My melanated skin tells my story every day. Fortunately, my fortune awaits. Majority of the world, minority in the States. Yeah, we blossom from the concrete. The world copies what they see, then mocks my mystique. The possibilities impossible to see. The ways of Western man can match the prophets of the East. My brothers and sisters, we ain't niggas and bitches. My brothers and sisters, we ain't niggas and bitches. Young brother, young king, you're a genius. Young sister, young queen, supreme beings. All you have to do is believe it. All you gotta do is believe it. Young brother, young king, you're a genius. Young sister, young queen, supreme beings. All you gotta do is believe it.
WIFTBPN.
You are back on the soil, and we are kicking it live from the West End for the Black People Media Studios. Shout out to Esco, always bringing the energy. You don't even understand, Esco. I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thank you, guys.
Esco.
Gino. Joe Kim Noah's retiring the Bull. We talked about it in the last segment. Let's stay on the NBA topic, man, and
77% of the league is Pelican-esque.
Pelican-esque.
23% of the league is Clipper-esque.
That is 100% the case, bro.
I be so disgusted.
Break it down again, though. Let the listeners know what that means.
77% of the time when you're watching an NBA contest, if there's a 10-game slate, meaning there are 10 games on the schedule that day, seven of them are probably going to be Huff. That I don't want to watch this, and I'm not going to watch it. The other 3 will probably more than likely be competitive. As we talked about yesterday on the kickback, man, it's like I feel like the talent levels in the NBA, no team, like the Houston Rockets. Come on, bro. Like, I don't care who you don't have. They're all NBA players at the end of the day. You should not lose by 50 points You shouldn't lose by 50 points anytime in the NBA.
And you weren't playing the Clippers. You were playing one of the Pelican-esque
Who
teams.
were they playing?
The Memphis Grizzlies.
Stop it, man.
Jamal Murray shot like 30%. Like, I think he ended with like 6 points and seven assists.
What?
Yeah, Valanciunas had 6 and 6. So their top 2 players didn't even put up numbers, and they won by 50.
And I saw Justice Winslow. You remember him?
Yeah, from Miami.
He popped up, and I'm like, I couldn't even think his name. Has been so long since I saw him, but I know he was having some mental issues or something.
Yes, and he just came back a couple games ago, right?
I'm not sure. I just saw him pop up yesterday. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, buddy from the Heat. I could not think his name. Then as he walked off the court, I saw Winston. Obviously, I wanted to call him Jameis Winston. What's his name again? Justice Winslow. Right.
And did you hear his post-game interview?
No.
Man, it was great. He was talking about how much this moment means
all
to him,
day,
and how this the trade to Memphis is the best thing that ever happened in his career because they've given him time, and space to grow.
This is what we continue to talk about every time we talk about these pro athletes, and it's like people just all we see is the 2.5 hours that they're entertaining us on television. They don't know about the rest of the day and what these guys go through, and it's like, yeah, they get paid millions of dollars, but it's a lot that comes with that.
Man, it's a whole lot. You said something, I don't know if it was on the show or during the break, but you completely took me back with the routine that a player goes through and just on the daily. Is you got a game, and then right after that game, you're icing to make sure that your body stays fresh. Then after that, you're preparing for your next opponent. You're probably watching film. Got to make sure your bags is packed. You got to make sure the family's good. Now you got to hop on the plane. Now you watching more film. It's just an endless cycle of responsibilities.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Like you said, being on the beat.
It take a toll.
Yeah, covering these guys, building a relationship with a few of them, being able to talk to them off the record a lot, and just knowing what they go through. And it's like, it's not everything that glitters ain't gold, So we were talking about Kobe White.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and, it's like you run up on Kyrie Irving one night, and after the game, you got to talk to the reporters because you shot 2 for 13.
Got to explain yourself.
You got to remain professional. You got to ice your body. You got to make sure you eat right. You got to make sure your family's straight. You got to make sure your woman's straight. You got to make sure your crib is straight. Yep. You got Damian Lillard. You traveling to Portland the next night to face Dame Lillard.
Trying to eat.
Now you got to watch tape on Dame Lillard. You still got to go. You got to get on the plane. You got to fly to Portland. You got to get off the plane at 4 a.m. You got to sleep at the hotel.
Yep.
You got to wake up at 10 so you can go to shoot around. And you got to eat lunch. You got to come back home or to the hotel. You got to study some more.
Yep.
You got to take a nap. You got to eat again. You got to make sure your mama's straight. You got to make sure your brother's straight.
Quick check in.
You
go to the game.
You may have a radio interview, or you may have a who knows what else you got to do before you got to be back at the stadium an hour, 2 hours early. Now you got to do your pregame ritual. You got to stretch. You got to get your shots up. You got to do more film stuff. It's just a lot that goes into that. And the average fan, and that's not for the average fan, that's not really for them to know or care about.
They just, like you said, only care about
the 2 hours that you see them on TV.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's interesting stuff, man. But as far as the NBA is concerned, man, the Houston Rockets, I was highly disgusted with what I saw yesterday. You shoot 4 of 42 from 3. John Wall was like 1 for 13 in the first quarter. Before the game, Victor Oladipo turned down a 2-year, $45 million extension.
I don't want to stay here for this. Nah, I'm not signing an extension, no.
So does the James Harden situation, it's kind of shedding light to what's
James had a point.
Yes. Houston, it's not right here, man. It's not right here. And then you saw what John Wall said after the game last night. This is horse shit.
Okay, because I confused it. I saw some Bradley Beal comments, so I forgot. I was thinking it was John Wall, but Bradley Beal he said something similar about his game. He said it was the goofiest display of basketball he had ever been part of.
Against the Boston Celtics?
Yeah.
What happened?
I think it was just how they ended the game he was commenting on. Wait, I didn't get a chance to see it.
Oh, I saw it?
Yeah. He called it the goofiest display of basketball he had ever been part of. So enlighten me.
Was he because they went up 3, Jason Tatum came down, scored.
Yep.
Boston was up 1. They inbounded to Bradley Beal. He was on the baseline. They double teamed him. He slipped, and he fell and stepped out of bounds. They got the ball. They scored. Boston went up 1. Then they inbounded. They called timeout, got the ball at half court, got the ball to Bradley Beal in the corner. He got doubled again and barely got a shot off, and it was like the worst shot he could possibly get. So I'm wondering if he was speaking on himself.
Yeah, he may have been speaking on himself.
Okay.
It was some goofy endings. What was the team that lost on the and one?
I didn't even see that.
Yesterday, a team lost. Damn, I can't remember who it was, but they lost on the and one, gave up a bucket with like a second left that tied it in the free throw. The Kings. The Kings versus Charlotte.
I didn't see that.
LaMelo had a good game, and P.J. Washington had like 42.
I saw P.J. have 42. Charlotte ended up winning?
Charlotte ended up winning because P.J. Washington scored the game-winning basket on the and one.
Okay.
As time expired, and it was one of those, like, the Kings, like, of course this is how we lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the whirlwind that is the NBA right now, man, it's tough to watch, man. Again, these are the most talented basketball players in the world. So, I can't play in the NBA, but as a fan and as a media member, man, it's tough to watch. It's tough to report on. It's tough to give like critical analysis.
The honest opinion is
it's
I'm
tough.
tired of this.
Yeah, it's tough.
Sadiq just said, our family member Sadiq, he says, "Gee, I don't even watch games like I used to. Honestly, just waiting for the playoffs to close the gap on competition. And when I think of the talent, when then I think the talent is stacked. The playoffs is definitely, I think, when most people come in."
Let me read it again. My bad. Gee, I don't even watch games like I used to. Honestly, just waiting for the playoffs to close the gap on completion. And when I think the talent that, hey, bruh, I think that's the masses.
The consensus.
Yeah.
That's the consensus approach for sure.
It's wild. It's wild. And like Ray said, sports is definitely rigged. I know a guy who sells the answers to bets. Well, put me on, Ray, because I bet. Shout out to the Miami Heat for coming through with that minus 3.5 yesterday. I didn't know Jimmy Buckets wasn't playing. Had I known, I may have still taken Miami over Atlanta minus 3.5, but they won by 10, so I end up hitting on that. But I agree with you, Ray. And if you didn't catch us on the kickoff kickback, probably the week before the Super Bowl, we had an interesting conversation, me, T, and Herb, where we listened to former Tampa Bay Buccaneers cornerback. Was it the cornerback? What was his name again? Who was talking about the Super Bowl and how it was rigged?
Old boy from the Buccaneers.
For the Bucks. I can't think his name right now.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but that was one of the best interviews I've heard recently.
And it's real talk. Like, it's definitely real talk. So, Charlotte Hornets. I think the Charlotte Hornets are in Portland tonight to face my boy Video Game Dame. So I'm interested to see LaMelo.
I watched Saturday Night Live real quick this past, and they did a LeVar Ball sketch with Keenan.
Yeah, he
did. They were talking about LaMelo. He was like, "Do you see my youngest son is playing for one of the most storied franchises in the NBA, the Charlotte Hornets?"
Only,
like, oh, that's LeVar.
Only because Mike is there, but no way.
He called the Charlotte Hornets one of the most storied franchises in NBA history.
No way.
Yes.
But
have you seen LaMelo though? Like,
I've seen LaMelo. LaMelo has been a bright spot for the Charlotte Hornets. I feel
like a bright spot though. I watched them against Portland in Charlotte. Well, whoever it was, I can't even remember the opponent, but nobody could stop LaMelo from getting to the bucket, Joe. He was just too quick, and I'm sitting there, and my eyes almost couldn't. He was almost quicker than my eye watching the game. I'm like, gee, this dude LaMelo is quicker than quick. Like,
and he's 6'7", 6'8".
He was getting pushed away from the basket and still laid it up with the right hand, but his arm was so long. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, we may be looking at the next best player in the league. You know what I mean? Like, we talk a lot about Zion. We talk a lot about, John Morant. LaMelo Ball, bruh.
But I also think LaMelo didn't have any expectations. Like, we know how LeVar has been about his sons since they were all in high school.
Yeah.
Zoe has been playing much better.
Much better. I
He
don't know
shot
where
the
he
lights
got a
out.
burner from.
Yeah, the February he led the whole NBA in 3-point percentage with like a minimum of 40 attempts. I think him and Zach and
he was averaging
Steph,
like 4 or 5 a game.
Yeah,
like.
he's been shooting lights out. And it's all about growth. We talk about, some of these guys taking longer to grow. Sometimes it could be them. Sometimes it could be the situation they're in. Sometimes it could be the team that they're playing for. So it's good to see Zoe. I'm pretty sure the trade rumors probably fueled his fire a little bit. But with LaMelo, it's just one of those things, like you said, he's coming into Charlotte. Charlotte has no expectations. So LaMelo was able to come in there, be himself, not have to worry too much about failing because it's not like they were a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Rozier, what's my other boy that should have been most improved player?
Malik?
No. From Kansas.
I'm
bogus.
Bridges.
I can't think. No, Miles went to Michigan State.
I know
the shooter.
Yeah, the other guy.
Starts with a D. I can't think his name, but just playing behind those guys, learning how to play. He's a natural point guard. He's got natural vision. He sprouted up a few inches, so it gave him.
And how old is he? 17, 18?
He might be 19 at the most.
He may get another. You know what I mean? Hopefully. I mean, he may not be done growing. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of tripping on thinking back to what I saw, man. He's one of the quickest guards I've ever seen. Straight, and that's just from that game alone. He was moving.
Yeah,
bro.
and he's gonna have growing pains. It's gonna be nice where he shoots 2 for 13, but it's all about how you react to it and how you come back the next day, because that's the thing with these guys who are coming from overseas or coming from college who, they used to playing 30-game seasons and not having to play the next night or having, back-to-backs or playing 3 games or 4 nights.
Yep.
And not, you can never get too high, you can't get too low. So you have a great game, but the next night you got, like you said, last night he had De'Aaron Fox. Now tonight he got Damian Lillard.
And he was killing De'Aaron Fox, bro.
Wow.
He was killing De'Aaron Fox. Like, it was absolutely nothing De'Aaron Fox could do.
And I wanted that, and that's why I tune into all the Portland games, but I'm interested to see how he fares against Damian Lillard, because the adjustment.
Oh yeah.
1 point guard plays one way. The next night you got a whole different approach to the
defensive end.
So you pick up too quick, So it's the growth and the maturity more than the numbers. The numbers don't tell the whole story a lot of the time. So just watching his movements and watching his body language and watching how he interacts with the players and how much they believe in him, you can tell that without even looking at the numbers.
You know what's interesting? Probably what I've enjoyed most about watching LaMelo Ball from when he first came on the scene, when he was Lil Melo, is that he's so charismatic and he still has that in the NBA. Like, I'm sure that the Hornets love playing with this kid, and he probably brings a little something extra out
all
of
day.
Him. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what we don't have, and not even to center straight, but it's what we don't have in Patrick Williams. You know what I mean?
Is what?
Is a charismatic leader that I feel like, even though he's young, older players are going to fall behind this kid, and kind of lift him up as a leader, even though he's so young. You know what I mean? I feel like what I've seen, and from the few games I've seen in Houston, is a young cat that has been thrust into a leadership role and is handling it, like, very well. You know what I mean? And I feel like his personality has a lot to do with it. It's like, oh, y'all want me to do this? Cool.
Agreed. I was born to do that.
Yeah, I was born to do it. Please follow me, fam.
No, that's a great point. That's definitely bodes well for that team, because you got a guy like Gordon Hayward who doesn't necessarily need the ball like that.
Yeah, and he goes under the radar. He's skilled than a mug.
Right,
You know
and it's up to Zoe to maximize Gordon Hayward. It's like, this guy's a walking 23, 24 points per game. Now, if I can make the game easier for him, then that's going to take both of us. And like you said, then P.J. Washington, and you get the rest of these guys
some talent
believing
over
in me
there,
and trusting in me to do the right thing, because he's going to get his shots.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. It's enough balls around that team where it's 90 field goal attempts. He's going to get his shots.
I think P.J. Washington had 42. LaMelo had like 25.
Okay.
Scary Terry had like 24. Hey, they was moving that thing yesterday, Joe.
Devontae Graham.
Yeah. I think it was like 130 to 129 or something was the final score. So it was one of those games, you know?
No, yeah, I'm gonna be since you said that, I'm gonna be extra tuned in watching LaMelo in Portland tonight.
Yeah,
I want to see him
entertaining.
I want to see him do his thing. But you had an interesting question about.
Yes, man. And
let me plug up my computer before it goes dead.
I feel like that leads right into it, man. I heard the guys, Kendrick Perkins and some of the other analysts having a discussion about if you had to start your own franchise, what player would you pick to build around? You know what I mean? Young, old, just anybody in the league currently and in a redraft, who's going as your number one pick? Okay? And can I kick it off? Because I feel like when I do watch the game, I'm only watching it for the young guys. Like, I watch a lot of Memphis games because I love Jamal Murray. I'm getting into, Charlotte and LaMelo, but I love watching the Pelicans and Zion and Brandon Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Philadelphia 76ers, who I totally didn't think I would be watching this much of, but Joel Embiid just does that. You know what I mean? Watching him is a joy, is a privilege. But I think I would, if I had to pick a player to build my franchise around, bro, I may be going with Devin Booker in Phoenix.
Wow.
I feel like his ceiling is through the roof. I love the way he approaches the game, and he has no flaws.
What did Mike say about the ceiling?